still December, it's the 8th, and I'm happy to share my knowledge and my ideas for this trading day for you. So we stream this show live on YouTube at the same time. If you watch it there, you will find a button in the right corner. You can click on it and then you can subscribe this channel. You can leave a comment if you want. You can give us a like if you think it's a cool stuff what we are doing here. And yeah, Saudi Khab Mike here from Germany. Unfortunately, it's still cold here and kind of different to Bangkok where I was the last 4 weeks. Okay, so we had a lot of content today, and today is a special day because today we have a special guest in our morning briefing show, and I'm looking forward to welcome this wonderful guy. Unfortunately, we don't have a recording to publish. I guess yesterday we had a kind of problems with the recording yesterday. So, however, it's always good you are live here in this show. So let's share. And let's see the chat. Wonderful. Okay. So I got it. Yes, yesterday's replay didn't go on YouTube yet. So I am really sorry for that. So, okay. So what's on the plate today? Kanyo, wonderful good morning. Vladimir on YouTube also, wonderful good morning. So the top news for this morning, India's central banks keeps rate unchanged as Omicron clouds outlook. And then a couple of shares, Nestle cuts stake in L'Oreal with a 10 billion deal. Then Weibo shares fall in Hong Kong by their own trading debut. And Microsoft says it has worked on to correct hiring practice mistakes. Today's interesting trading day because we expect two interesting data today. That's the Bank of Canada interest rate. And to discuss this, what could happen, how we can see the chart, US dollar Canadian dollar, I invite a wonderful, awesome trader for us today to talk a couple of minutes with this guy. And of course, this afternoon, we expect weekly petroleum, the oil status report as almost every Wednesday. So William, which time frame, please? Always give me a hint of the time frame, daily chart or 4-hourly chart or whatever it is, because without the time frame, I cannot help. So, and of course, I want to give you the hint to Admirals in Telegram. So in case you have, beside of WhatsApp, a Telegram, then please follow Admirals here, and that you will have all charts and interesting topics there and about the webinars and any news. And in chat, you will find the link from Nastia, wonderful good morning, and you can follow there in case you have Telegram. Okay, so let's go to our Dax trading. And yeah, we are very far away from the point of control in 10 minutes. This is placed 15,315 euro by one future contract. And as you see, it's a long running trend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trend arms again. And this is really interesting. And now we are working on a new downtrend. Actually, we are waiting for a close below the last 0.2, and then we have a new downtrend, and then we can start a new trade, by the way. But you see, if you let the market run, which is possible with a proper money management, then you have a really long running trend, or most of the times. And if you go a little bit in history, you realize very often this happens, that we have long running trades in 10 minutes, but you have to sit on your hands. And this is a kind of, yeah, how should I say, psychology topic. But you can learn everything. This is one of the topics, of course, I teach you in the online course. You can see on my homepage, by the way. Okay, In next 10 minutes, actually, we are waiting for a new downtrend or any new trend because the old one is too literally too old. And now maybe I hope we get a new downtrend so we can use the second trend arm again to have a high probability. Let's go to our focus charts and we start with Bitcoin. I hope so. Here we go. So, and in Bitcoin, we have basically a main trend, which is facing downwards. And this is this one. And this main trend is still valid. Here we go. And this one. So basically, it's an old trend too. And on the right side, we see this new uptrend. And therefore, I have my pending order here at the point 2, because I'm speculating of the second trend arm and that we maybe go back to the point of control again. So therefore, I have a pending order there. Stop loss is below the last 0.3. And then let's see if we see the breakouts. And if you see a breakout above the 0.2, we can sell half the position and trail the stop. So to make sure you don't have a loss, because strategy always is working from the correction zone, for accumulation zone, up to the 0.2 with a close. And then the strategy is working, then your job is done. And then the market should do their own job, and to continue the trend or to reach the point of control. And this you have to manage with your trade management. Then Dow Jones. Interestingly, we have a new trend and quite far in the move. So that's the trend. And we are waiting for a correction that we can make in the second trend arm to go in at the 0.2. But this will not happen today. We need, first of all, we need a correction. Same happens now in DAX 40 in 4-hourly chart. And finally, we have a trend here right now. Also, first trend arm, and here we are in a second trend arm. And again, it's interesting, right? We hit the point of low and we hit the point of control again. So, and now just waiting for a correction. And when the correction comes to an end, we can make an entry at the 0.2 to speculating here to see a breakout or maybe see a new trend to the upper side. So then British pound USD, still a downtrend. We're just waiting for a new uptrend. There's actually absolutely nothing to do. And in Euro USD, you know, we had a trend. And by the way, this trend is still valid. So that's the first trend arm. And then we had the second. Mr. Powell impact. So, and therefore this is point number 3 there. And actually we hit point number 3, but there is no trend break. That's point 2 and that's point 3. There is no trend break for the moment. If we hit this point exactly, and now we can speculate that we see a trend continuation in the third trend arm maybe. Where we can get in, it's kind of difficult to make an entry there because I didn't. So I'm just waiting because I want to see that we make something like this, that I have 2 trends in my direct direction. And because, you know, the point of control is up at 121. So we have a lot of space to go. And therefore we have a lot of space to up to the 0.2. So we can wait that the market give us a little bit second chance to go in. Then we can work with the third trend arm or with the secondary trend in the second trend arm. So let's wait on the watch list. No rush and no reason for hurry here in Euro USD. And before we go to running trades and more proposals and to my special guest for today, I want to ask you my question of today. And this is, what do you expect from the markets next year? Because, you know, we are going close to the end of the year, Christmas, Happy New Year. So, and 2 options, they will increase more or we will see a crash. So what do you think? What do you personally expect from the markets next year? They will increase, we will see higher prices next year, or we will see a crash. So what is your private opinion about the market? This is just only an opinion, you know, we don't know, but kind of guessing. What's your private opinion? It's just a more general question for today. So I have 2 trades open in 4-hourly chart, and this is the first one, Euro British Pound. So, and you see what could happen actually if you let it go and if you have a proper money management. So that's the trend. Here was our entry in the second trend arm. We sold 2 positions, so we are completely safe. Then we saw this trend continuation and the next correction, and now the price is going up again. So I don't know what will happen on the right side. I just have the probabilities that a trend continuation is always more likely than a trend break, and that we reach the point of control again. So, and this is what happens. So I trade my stop loss below the last 0.3. This is here, that's the last 0.2. Let's see what happens next, because I don't care, because I'm safe in this trade. So, and if you are safe, once you are safe in this trade or in any trade, yeah, let it go. You know, a trend continuation is always more likely than a trend break. In other case, trail the stop and take the money. But sit on your hands and let the market decide how much money you will get until you are safe with this trade. And then gold chart, I supposed yesterday, and here we are in profit a bit too, and I'm waiting for a close above the last 0.2. I hope you made this trade too, because we talked about yesterday, first trend arm, second trend arm. Yeah, and now we are up to continue this trend. We are waiting for a close above the last 0.2. This is 0.3. So, and of course, yeah, let's see if we will get a new trend to the upper side. So, which means actually we can, the moment at 11 o'clock, we have a close above the last 0.2. I can sail half my position, or maybe 75% of my position, trail the stop to the last 0.3 and let it go. Yeah, let it go, and maybe see a third trend arm or the fourth or whatever there is. You see, on the upper side is enough space to go up. I don't know how many trend arms this market will do, but the moment we have a close above the last 0.2, the trade has to be safe. So then let's see what's on my watch list on 4-hourly chart. So on the watch list in 4-hourly chart, we have still Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, like we mentioned yesterday, but actually there's not a trend right now. Yeah, just wait. I only tell you this, that you see, okay, we have to wait. Yeah, until we have a close above the last 0.2, then we can use the next one. So still a watch list, I guess not happen today, especially we expect the rate decision of Canadian dollar today. So let's see. Then is US dollar, Japanese yen. And you know, this is a kind of tricky. So short trend, move, correction, second trend arm, still in the second trend arm. Point of control is quite far away. So let's make an entry, set a pending order close to the last 0.2. Yeah, if you want to go higher in, then you have to manage this trade a little bit more carefully, because actually there could be like this one also. Yeah, so I would make an entry at my last 0.2 to speculate on the trend break through the 0.2 or the trend continuation. A little bit more safe at the 0.2. But it's also okay if you open the trade higher, but then you have to read the chart more carefully, because if the trade is not working for you, we have to cut it. That's very important. Still, Swiss franc, Japanese yen. And here we go. This is a kind of also tricky, and you see I have still my pending order in, because this first trend arm, That's the second one. And we are still in a second trend arm because this is my last point 2, point 3. Yeah, and we are waiting that the price will go up. But actually, you see, we're circling around this price. So best is at the point 2 to make a possible entry in case the trend will continue. Then they will pick us up. Yeah, otherwise the trend will break below the last point 3. Yeah, great. So just one. Thanks, Nastia. And this is Euro Canadian dollar. Yeah, but wait until the press conference, until the rate decision this afternoon. So check it out. This is the trend move, first trend arm, and here we are on a second trend arm. So correction, when the correction comes to an end, yeah, entry at the point 2, for example. Okay, so can I have the WhatsApp, please? Or where can I find it? I have it on Telegram, but follow a lot of channels on there. Okay, I don't know about WhatsApp. I just only the channel of Telegram. Okay, so then there's a question about Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and there is no trend. Actually, the downtrend is broken, and uptrend, there is no trading idea. Okay, finally, before I come to my special guest today, there was a question of British pound Canadian dollar. This is this one, and the question was about hourly chart. And yeah, the trend is too old, literally too old, deep in the green zone, maybe waiting for a new uptrend and then go back to the point of control. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful. Just a moment. I have a great pleasure to invite and to welcome our special guest today. And this is my lovely congenius partner, Paul Wallace. Wonderful. Good morning. Are you here? Let's see if this will working.
Good morning, Marcus.
Paul, wonderful. Good morning. Nice to see you here. Nice to have you here. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, Marcus. All the better for seeing you, as always.
You know, we are traders. We are always positive, right?
Exactly. We love it.
Okay. So how is the trading going these days?
Well, it's well, in the kind of terms of this week, it's really been it's been actually a great week because of what's actually going on in the markets themselves, as the markets have realised that this Omicron variant isn't as bad as everyone was terrorized about last week.
Yeah.
That means that basically we've just seen the sentiment has shifted. So we've had a real risk on sentiment, this week, and so for currencies which had been battered by it, namely the Aussie and the Canadian dollar, it's been a great week for trading those so far.
Yeah. We saw the last days. Today is Wednesday. Since Monday, the market is rising, and Dow Jones is up to new highs. What do you think about the markets? Are that's a kind of overwhelmed, or the prices are too high? What's your opinion about the markets?
Well, if you're looking at those kind of US indices markets, they had a fabulous sell-off for the last couple of weeks, but then this week, there's definitely been, everybody's been buying the dip, and the risk on has been back in the risk on sentiment has come back into that. Those yesterday had, really strong days across those US indices. I think Apple closed again, at highs, etc. So for new traders, I think it's really important for them to understand the shift in sentiments from when the market goes from risk on to risk off, because when that flips, that that can move really fast for you or against you, depending upon how you're positioned.
Yeah. Could you participate from the last increasing of the markets in Dow Jones, for example, or like your preferred charts?
I was actually selling off on the across Nasdaq and S&P and Dow, but as soon as you saw that on effectively kind of Friday over the weekend, they were basically the whole sentiment had shifted. You know, everybody had been fearful, and suddenly it shifts to everyone being a bit greedy and stuff. And so when that happens, because I'm already in a position, I kind of just step at the side, and then I'll basically I had a couple of intraday trades yesterday afternoon just to basically take part in the party. But what I will look at is, you know, how do those markets respond over the next few days? Okay, as we run into December. December can be a bit of a strange month when it wants to be. So, you know, there will be opportunities running into the end of the year.
What do you think? We will see another end of the year rally?
Yeah, there will be. You know, and I answered your little questionnaire there. I think next year that the markets will probably increase more. I think we may even get a melt up before anything bad happens.
Okay, great. Paul, so I know you're a currency trader too, so you know we expect the rate decision of Canadian dollar this afternoon. And actually, I see we see the chart here from US dollar Canadian dollar in 4-hourly chart. So, what do you think about the rate decision? Will they leave it or will they increase? What do you think about the impact in US dollar Canadian dollar for the rate decision this afternoon?
I think actually my view is that they'll probably leave it. They'll leave it unchanged, but probably they'll be hawkish in tone, setting it up for an increase in January. That'll be my view on the decision this afternoon. That's how I'd be looking at it.
So how we can trade this? What do you think is prices in US dollar Canadian dollar? Actually, in 4-hourly chart, we see that we have a broken uptrend. In my opinion, we see actually there is not really a trend. We came back to the so-called point of control. So what do you think about in your charts? Do you trade US dollar Canadian hourly chart or 4-hourly chart or lower time frames?
I would normally dollar Canadian dollar would be kind of like 4-hour daily charts. I mean, I don't know if we can, I can bring up my chart if that helps. I don't know if we have that facility, but my view on dollar Canadian dollar, if you look at the daily chart, it has effectively always had over the last few months, it's had an initial around 128. Okay, if you look at that, every time up on the daily chart, it's got up to around about that 128 level. It's been firmly battered down, and that's what happened. We saw on Fridays, it got back up to around that area, and then invariably, aligned with what we've just talked about in terms of the change in risk sentiment. It kind of rolled off that very, very rapidly. The challenge for me was that you could tell it was likely to reverse off there, but I didn't get a trigger or a signal for myself to basically short it. But yeah, it's no surprise that it kind of rolled off there, and that maneuver will either falter or get further strength based upon what the Bank of Canada announces this afternoon. So I wouldn't be putting any positions on this morning on any Canadian dollar positions. My preference, others may differ, is that, if you're running into a major central bank decision, that I will sit in my hands and wait to see how the market reacts to the news. That's my style of trading.
Oh, thank you very much for these lovely words, because I try to teach the people all the time, sit in your damn hands until the decision is over. So you would say the same, right?
Oh yeah, totally. I know there will be other people who would like to put positions on before big announcements like that. But my view is that even if you have a good take on the market, it's not necessarily so much about the news per se. It's about how the market reacts to the news, and that's to me, it's gambling. Putting a position on before big news is hoping that it goes your way. To me, I would call that gambling rather than trading. So I always prefer to let the news come out, let them the indice have its mad 15 minutes, and then basically then I will look to position myself if the price action is supporting me.
Yeah. Otherwise, just kind of gambling, right?
Totally. Yep.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Paul, you have a webinar this afternoon. What you can tell us, our clients, what they can expect from your webinar this afternoon?
Yeah, sure. So it kind of this afternoon, 2:00 London time, I'll be doing a webinar for beginners on, it's the first of a couple I'll be doing, which is about just simple trading setups for beginners that they can use coming into the new year. So this afternoon, I'll be sharing just a very simple setup called the fiery cross. Just the whole idea being that it's quite a simple one for new traders to basically take on board. I think that excuse me, sometimes new traders get the feeling that that they have to have very complicated trading setups, that they actually need lots of indicators on their charts, that they need lots of working elements to a setup, and actually it's normally the case that quite the opposite is different, and that less is more. And so I'll be just sharing over a couple of webinars, just a couple of very simple setups that people can take away and work with in their trading coming into 2022.
So you are a friend of this KISS principle, right? Keep it simple and stupid, right?
Totally, yeah, totally. Especially if you're going to trade on intraday markets. I think if you have it's better to have a simple plan that you can execute well, rather than a complex plan which is difficult to execute in a very fast flowing dynamic market. So I'm definitely the case of less is more when it comes to trading setups.
Great. We have the links in the chat and on YouTube as well. People, if you want to see how Paul teach you the principle, the easy principle or the simple principle to kind of trading setups, then follow the link and join Paul this afternoon too. Paul, we have interesting of the poll, this the survey, what do you expect from the markets next year? So it's kind of balancing. So 55% says the market will increase next year, and 45% says that we will see a crash. So personally, I would say there is no crash, but I see we will I think we are really, really high in the all-time highs, another all-time high, another all-time high. I'm not sure if we will see so much higher prices next year, maybe a kind of balancing a little bit lower, but I don't see a crash at all. Maybe kind of a little bit downtrend next year to keep in balance what we saw this year about the Corona and something like this, but it could be very interesting next year.
Yeah, I think there will be. I like shorting markets. All right, I don't consider myself a perma bear, but I do like shorting markets, and but even I will admit that I think to try and fight the Fed at the moment is a pointless game. You're going to end up with your getting your head handed to you on a plate. So my view is don't fight it, don't fight the trend. There's no point. And there'll be, as I said, I think we'll get another melt up personally.
Yeah, exactly. Paul, let me say thank you that you joined us this session, that you shared your incredible knowledge and wise words with us. And people, you can follow Paul this afternoon in this webinar. We would appreciate it. Paul, I wish you a wonderful day. And thanks for your time in our show the first time. And I hope we can repeat it next time again. So a lot of success for you. Thank you again. And for all the other guys, as always, have courage and be kind. And may the force